dressage test this morning on Arthur. Can you talk about your test today? I know we said earlier, he didn't have a ton of runs before this. You guys obviously have the experience and the partnership to get it done with few runs. But if there was something that you were pleased with in your test this morning, what that would have been?
He was super today. I had not my usual prep today because he was first out at 8 a.m. And he hasn't been anywhere since Kentucky this spring because obviously I got injured, and my first cross-country school on him since Kentucky was last week. So I'm shy on preparation for this, but I've been last couple weeks, Karen O'Connor, who's quite close to me in Virginia, helped me with him a couple times, and I feel good and he feels good. But the test today, he's just so happy to be at a show and doing something again. He's had a ton of visitors to his stall and he loves that, and he just felt super this morning. I gave him a little lunge in the dark because I had to prepare my other young horses that were show jumping this morning, and I was a bit late getting to the warm-up, but he just was focused and ready to do his job. And when Arthur's good, he's so good, and it was just a fluid, nice test.
And what do you feel after obviously you guys' tenure together that he's really picked up over the past few seasons that you think he's improved on?
Yeah, I think his weakest thing is certainly his show jumping. That's always been the case. He was, one of my first years at Kentucky, I think he had 6 rails. I don't know, maybe it was terrible. He is such an unbelievably scopy horse, but he is very, very spooky.
Yeah.
And it's not spooky at the jump, but everything around it. So when he's like that, he's tensing his back, and he can be a little, he can jump a little low and tight. So I think I've had to learn a lot how to ride and train like a better show jumper, because it used to make me really nervous because I didn't know what to do. And so I kind of wish I had him all over again as a 5-year-old, because I think I would have done a better job. But so that's improved a lot. He's always a very spooky horse. He's notoriously spooky, and certainly this sort of derby type event is difficult to go quick when we have to go past things and turn tight, and you don't have the long gallops to really make up time. So I have not walked the course yet. So I'll do that this afternoon, and we'll just see. He's a good horse. He knows his job, and we have a super partnership. So it really feels so good in my heart to be back competing and feeling well and doing it with my old partner.
And he's older and he's had a long career at this level. How do you keep him fit and happy? And
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I think that he had a minor injury after the 2012 Olympic year. They did so much, and he had such a fabulous year, so he sat out 2013. Beginning of 2015, I think it was, he, right before Kentucky, had a minor injury, so then I didn't do anything the rest of the year. So I've just, I think just keeping them healthy and happy and being, he's had a wonderful career. He really has very few injuries, but I think the management and care of the horses is, comes first, period. And what I've been able to do, like what I did this year, he sort of, he gets a long break in the fall, and we keep him walk hacking and whatnot to keep him loose and happy. And we liked him up and did Wellington Showcase, and then he got to actually have a break. We didn't keep going and galloping. He had a break, and then he got legged up to do Carolina, and then he was prepped to do Kentucky. But you can't just keep going and galloping and doing. So I think breaks are really important. I think a lot of people don't. Maybe not, I shouldn't say that, but I think a lot of horses have to continue to work and gallop all year long. And I think I've had him for so long, and I know him so well, and I use the heart rate monitor and whatnot as far as fitness. I know exactly what that horse needs to be fit enough and prepared to go, and you can definitely go beyond that and run a horse down. And once they kind of go over the top, especially with a nervous horse like Arthur, who will go off their grain and lose their top line, and then they, that's when you start looking at injuries. But just keeping him fat and healthy and happy, and he is that right now.
And you said that Kurt was riding some of your young horses and
Mhm.
keeping them legged up.
Yeah.
Did he ride Arthur, or did somebody else do that for you?
He did the first jump school. Arthur didn't compete at all. I mean, he
Right.
doesn't need to. I think he, it is like the idea of that. I did one intermediate after he had that whole year off. I did an intermediate to get going because that seemed like a smart thing to do. I'm like, well, that's the last time I'm ever taking an intermediate. Like, it is not fun when the jumps are low. It's actually better if he looks at a big jump. And I think that's why he's always so good at Burley too. I feel good doing that because he's almost better just looking at a big jump and keeping his focus. So Kurt did do the first one or two, just gymnastic-y little stuff, because I certainly didn't need to get on him and have him do his ding-dong thing that he can do, and it was great. So, but I have a great, the girls that work for me are fabulous, and I have a wonderful Canadian girl, Jill Thomas, who's really benefited from my injury this year and rode and schooled a lot of horses for me, and she is riding so well because of it, and so she does a really good job on Arthur, and so that's helpful.
Great. You guys good?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good
Thank
luck.
you, Allison. Good